I want to talk about the warning signs that you're dating an abusive individual because this can literally save your life. Over 15 years ago, I was in an abusive relationship, and my ex-boyfriend sexually assaulted me dozens of times. He physically abused me. He sexually abused me. He stalked me. He held me hostage at his house for over a week and a half. He didn't feed me. He didn't give me water. Mentally abused me, verbally abused me, and emotionally abused me. And I had gotten a restraining order against him when the stalking happened. I broke up with him, and then he started stalking me. And a couple of months later, he begged me to take it off. And he was like, I just graduated from college. And he's like, I don't want this to stop me from getting a job. So, like, ill-advised, but I took it off. I felt bad. And I was like, I don't want to get in the way of your career. So very naively, I was like, if you'll actually leave me alone, he promised to. But he had already stalked me for months. He had a loaded gun at his house, and he was already like making threats against me. But he was saying that like now that he had graduated college, he was going to like accept that it was over and he was going to move on. So I very stupidly took off the restraining order. Of course, he did not leave me alone. He called me after, like, he took me to the courthouse, took me home. He called me on the way home. So this was all over 15 years ago. The reason that I'm making this video is because I read a background check report on him because I wanted to know, does the restraining order at least still show up? Like, I know I took it off, but, like, that doesn't mean I didn't put it on. And, like, the judge granted it to me for a reason. And misdemeanors don't show up on a lot of like the background check reports that you're going to see online on Google that are like $20. And that's what the average person would run, right? You're not going to run what, like, cause I used to be a corporate recruiter. You're not going to run the type of background check report that like an employer does with like employment verification where you're going to pick up like misdemeanors and felonies, right? So nothing comes up for him. And it's scary to me because he's like reinvented himself. Like, I've gone to his Facebook and shit like that. And it's like he has this whole like fake persona that he's doing now. But when I went to his YouTube, it's like he hasn't changed. He has a lot of very disturbing videos in playlists that talk about doing different things to women that he's done to me. And he had made a video of the two of us. It was a picture slideshow with a Radiohead song after I broke up with him. After he stalked me, after I put on the restraining order, and then I very stupidly took it off because he begged me to. He made a video of a sideshow, like acting like we were still together on his YouTube channel at the time. And he has pictures of me on there where I'm like I'm shirtless. So like I'm facing the camera like this. So like, yeah, you can't see anything, but like you can see that I'm topless. And it's like, okay, I've broken up with you. And I tried to get YouTube at the time. This was way back, like when all this stuff was happening, like in 2007. I was like, can you take this video down? Because I actually took him to court, got a restraining order, and they were like, no. Like, unless you can prove that, like, he's impersonating you, or he was like, you have to give us a court order. And I'm like, well, I can't because I took off the restraining order. So they were like, no. So, like, it's still up to this day. It's like, he hasn't changed. And then he had contacted me in 2009 because actually, like, while I was at his house, he wasn't taking me home. Like, it got so intense that I actually tried to kill myself, and it almost worked. Like, I went to a coma for 24 hours, and, like, I almost died. He contacted me one time, 12 years after that. So, like, him taking me to his house, refusing to, like, take me home. He wasn't feeding me. He wasn't giving me water, like, the whole 9 yards. And he reached out to me in 2019 on Facebook, and he said, I'm just reaching out to people in the past that I've hurt, and I just want to say sorry, so sorry about that. Like, that's not sincere. That's not genuine. That's not authentic. That's not acknowledging any of the things that you've actually done. That doesn't show me that you've done any kind of, like, therapy or introspection or shadow work or somatic work or, like, anything on the subconscious level to try to figure out why you did everything that you did to me. So of course I just blocked him, and I'm like, okay, he hasn't changed. It's been 12 years, and like, the way this apology is worded, it was so dismissive. I would have thought like somebody just like, hey, I'm sorry I lost your fucking like Tenchi Muyo DVD, because I used to be an anime fanatic, and it was so flippant, and it was so dismissive, and it was so one-sided. Like, it was obvious to me that like he hadn't actually thought about like any of the things he's done. I mean, like I said, he has YouTube playlists like that are very, very disturbing, that talk about the things that he put me through. And it's like, okay, some of these are from like a couple of months ago. So I wanted to make a video just to give warning signs that you're in a relationship with an abusive individual. I'm 42, but I know that they didn't teach me any real life stuff when I was in school. So let's go through it. Like, if the person is making you check in with them, so he would constantly make me check in with him. So like, if I was on campus, like at Rutgers, like he had my schedule, that was never enough. Like, there were times that I had to check in with him after class, and it's like, if the bus ran late, or if I was talking to my professor, or if a classmate asked me a question, he would start writing my ass and start texting me and be like, why haven't you like texted me yet? So constant check-ins, that's a red flag. That's a warning sign that the person is possessive and they're controlling and they're abusive. You're probably dating a malignant narcissist, and you need to get the fuck out before you are abused, assaulted, and or killed. You could lose your life over this. Another sign I would say is if the person starts telling you how you can dress. If you think they're obvious, I disagree. Like, they don't teach us these things in school. Like, I was raised as a fundamentalist Baptist. I certainly didn't learn them in church. So, like, you can see I have a crop top on. Like, I wear crop tops. That's my style. He would constantly make me change. It's like, he would come to pick me up and he'd be like, go get changed. Or he would, like, policing your social media profiles. He would police my MySpace profiles. I'm older, so, like, I'm talking about MySpace. This is back in 2005 and 2006. And he would just go through my MySpace and he'd be like, take down that picture, take down that bulletin. He would make me justify people that had added me as a friend. So if you're younger, MySpace was like the initial like social media jump off, like after Friendster and all the initial shit, like High Five. But it's like, there were these things called follow trains where you could put up a bulletin, and then everybody that wanted to gain followers had to follow everyone that came and posted the bulletin before. So the whole point was like, it was a way to gain followers. Like, you don't know these people, but he would go through and he would make me justify, like, who is this person? Who is he? Like, why are you friends with him on MySpace? And it's like, but you can see that I posted a follow train, and that would never be enough for him. So to keep track, right? If the person's making you check in, if the person is policing what you wear, if the person is policing your social media profiles. I would also say if the person starts to make you this like dehumanized vessel of fantasy fulfillment. So he would say things to me like, you're the only thing that makes me real. And like, he was obsessed with this group called Slipknot. Whether they're a good group or not, the fact of the matter is, like, he would tell me that the song Vermilion was about me. We were anime fans. That's how I met him. I met him on an anime message board online, and I had my own board back then, and I was so obsessed with anime. And he was telling me, like, you are Cheza from Wolf's Rain, right? And he was constantly, like, dehumanizing me and making me, like, this vessel to, like, fulfill his fantasy of this, like, muse that he could build his life around. And he would always be like, I'm not real, and you're the only thing that makes me real. So, like, I, at first, like, thought that it was romantic, or I thought he was just saying that I complete him. And, like, I had heard those things and seen those things. Like, I grew up, like, the early Zeros romance comedy movies with, like, Jennifer Garner and Jennifer Lopez and, like, fucking, you know, Clarissa from Across the Expanse, all that shit. But the more he did it, I was starting to be like, wait a second, like, you're taking me out of it. You're dehumanizing me. You're just making me this, like, empty vessel. So definitely, if the person starts to dehumanize you and just make you this, like, fantasy fulfillment vehicle for them, like, it's an abusive relationship. Like, they're going to turn on you. And then I would also just say, like, if the person starts to accuse you of things on a very regular basis that you're not doing. So he would always accuse me of, like, you think you're better than me, and you think you're too good for me, and you don't date ugly guys like me, and I'm too overweight for you. And I was never thinking those things or saying those things, but he was constantly saying that that's actually how I feel. Like, I don't care about him, and he's just like, I'm using him. And it's like, using you for what? Like, you don't have a job. You got fired from being a forklift operator, Great Adventures. So, like, what would I be using you for? But he was constantly saying that I am a princess and that I think I'm better than him. And then he would sing Beauty and the Beast to me, and he'd be like, you think I'm the Beast? So if just one person watching this on the For You page gets the fuck out of an abusive relationship, then it was worth it to share this with you.